And we're live. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Two Scoops, you guys.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who turned in to the last podcast. You know, it was definitely a great experience to do that with you, for the first one. I think it was pretty awesome,
We've been talking about this for a long time, so watching it come into motion now is really nice.
Yeah, quick shout out to Q29, you know what I mean?
Hyde
thank
Park,
you guys.
upstate, baby.
It's 8:45 somewhere here in Hyde Park, All right, and to jump right into our next segment, right? What is it? What is this? What is our topic today, Alexis?
Today, we are going to be talking about the age of transparency and therapy.
I need to take a moment. That's deep.
This one's going to get a little bit.
This one's heavy. This one's heavy.
Like last time, we were just kind of talking about, things that we're just used to.
It was the intro. Just
getting comfortable. Whereas now we're starting to really delve into the more deep-rooted feelings and opinions on things.
Before we started this podcast, so you just said that, before we started this episode, you just said that there was an interesting development that I kind of wanted to hear. I haven't heard your point on this, about how you think. So I guess 1 out of 5 millennials, so there's...
No, we were talking about some stats.
We're talking about some stats. So I guess here, Alexis brought up some statistics that 1 out of 5 millennials and 1 out of 5 Gen Zers actually do go to some forms of therapy, which I thought there would be a huge disparity there. I didn't think that my generation has caught on to therapy yet, which I guess I am wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you said that
I don't know.
Think it's different.
I think that people are becoming more acquainted to it, the idea of therapy, just because it's very much, the conversation about mental health and things like that are coming up a lot more than it used to in the past, whereas when you guys were kids, you were always kind of taught, you don't really have, you don't have to go to therapy. You can work through it on your own. Whereas I know some of my friends have been in therapy since they were, 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
10 years old in therapy. So but I want to go so many different ways. But how does that differentiate though? If 1 out of 5 of us are going to therapy and 1 out of 5 of you are going to therapy.
I don't know, because I think that also probably has a lot to do with demographics and stuff too. Because if you're, a Gen Z or a millennial living in a big, city, you're probably more likely to want to go to therapy because it's a lot more lonely. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. But then why are we going to therapy then? You know what I mean? Because it's the same. We're at the same rate right now. It seems as if we caught on. It seems like we're on the...
I think that you guys have got on, but I think that you guys use it as a different...
How are we... That's what I'm trying to get to. So
I think that you guys use it as sort of a way to get somebody else's... here's somebody else's perspective on your own life.
And how are you using it?
Well, when I've used therapy in the past, I use it as, I did use it as somebody who has an unbiased opinion about my life. However, I like to talk about myself.
So perspective versus perception here.
Yeah.
All right. So you like to talk about yourself. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I do like to talk about myself. And I feel that a lot of people in my generation like to talk about themselves. I mean, we are known as being a selfish generation.
What is it? The digital natives, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were called the digital natives last time we were looking up.
I think so. Yeah. The digital natives.
I mean, because if you think about it, I was born into this world of technology, whereas you were too, but that didn't start to become a thing and something that you thought about until...
We had MySpace, stop. We were there.
You had MySpace.
Right. So,
I've never had a MySpace account.
We won't talk about MySpace right now. Right now, though, you said some of your friends started therapy at 10?
Yeah, so...
That's I feel like that's early to start therapy. What is there that you need to digest at 10? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I think... Because this is what I'm saying is that there's different forms of therapy. Some of these kids, I know the one person
trauma's trauma. I understand trauma's trauma.
Yeah.
It's we can push the trauma to the side because we all understand trauma probably deserves therapy. We can all agree there, right?
But I think also, maybe some of these kids when they were younger, they needed that little extra push to
it's validation?
Yeah.
Or are you just
not
trying
even
to
validation. I think just becoming aware of it. You know what I mean? Because, I know.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
I know for at least the one friend that I said, when she started therapy, back at 10 years old, both of her parents were therapists. So I think that they saw it as a way of her just sort of getting used to the idea of it.
Oh, the thought of it. It's like both her parents are therapists and then they're sending her to therapy.
Yeah.
Something feels wrong about that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, it's not my place, but
No, I know.
something
It
feels
sounds
wrong
really,
about that.
it sounds so strange.
Yeah.
However,
I think so.
I can understand it to a certain regard because, therapists are different type of people. Like they have their own issues going on, but they choose to go to work every single day to listen to other people's problems and give them solutions to them. It's like, I don't know. Have you watched The Sopranos?
No, I'm so disconnected now.
If you, in the episode of this, like in The Sopranos, Tony has his therapist, but then his therapist has another therapist because his therapist cannot handle all the amount of things that he's listening from this one person. So he has to talk about it with somebody else. Okay. So I don't know. I think and like as parents, they wanted to do the best thing for their kid. And I think that, it's an unbiased opinion.
Okay.
And that's what I said to you yesterday when we were talking about it.
All right. So my thing is like, so obviously you've known this individual their whole life. Like you guys grew up together.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 okay. So do you see a difference? Like how are they like more emotionally developed?
I think that they're a little bit more emotionally mature. I think that they know how to handle situations a lot better than myself.
Do you think they're being reserved or they just know how to, what I mean?
I think that they're more in tune with themselves. I think that they are happy with themselves and they're going to march to the beat of their own drum.
So how about yourself though? Like when were you introduced to therapy? Like
I started going to therapy my junior year of college.
Junior year of college was introduced to therapy. I feel like then that's kind of late, no?
Yeah, well.
Now you're telling me you have a friend that was introduced to therapy at 10 and then you didn't get introduced to therapy until you were already like 19, 20 years old?
Yeah. If we really want to get into obviously my mom works in the school district. Like my mom has she loved therapy. So it was always something that I knew about before going into junior year of college.
So did she use therapy prior to you using therapy? That's the question. So she was already
so did my sister, my younger sister.
Your sister was already in therapy as well. Okay, so I'm just trying to see the household and how they.
My family.
Okay, so why were you the last one?
I wasn't the last one.
You weren't the last one. Okay.
Yeah, but my family's always struggled with depression and anxiety and mental health issues.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you.
However,
who's not nowadays?
Yeah, who's not? But I had a situation, where a whole thing happened with my family.
Okay. I hear you.
My father was having an affair.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so I was just in a really dark space in my life.
What made that so what?
That was the final straw for me going to therapy.
Like that was so you were teetering on it before?
There had been a conversation when COVID first hit, I was in a very, very bad place. COVID hit
So this all happened during you started going to therapy during the pandemic? So okay.
So the pandemic started, right? I was a freshman in college. I came home for spring break.
Catalyst, I hear.
Pandemic happened. I'm worst place I've ever been in my life, probably.
Okay, all right.
Fast forward, my parents have been being like, Alexis, you really should try and get into some therapy. It really could benefit you because you're constantly looking to everybody else for their opinions on what you should do for your life. But they're all biased. Why not go to somebody that actually can sit here and give you the tools to make yourself feel better? So I, did not want to do it because I was like, I had this idea in my head that, if you were going to therapy, there was really no other option. Like you couldn't figure your shit out on your own. You had to.
That was your opinion of therapy
prior.
Like you had no other options.
But I think part of the reason of that is because my dad always said that to me. He always was like, you don't really need therapy. You only need therapy unless you're really not doing well, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So the generational thing.
Yeah, it was what I grew up with because he thinks that therapy is
so that stuck with you, but didn't stick with your siblings.
Yeah, no, because
my
mom is, she works in the school district. She works with special needs kids. So she's always been very open.
Automatic.
Automatic. And then my sister is just she's a very free spirit. She doesn't really care about.
What's the age difference between you and your sister?
We're 4 years apart.
4 years
she's
apart.
18.
So that's even further down. Okay. Even further down the line.
She's a freshman in college.
So that's just automatic.
Yeah.
She is just therapy is it. It's a part of my life.
She just also was my sister, growing up, she had friends, but she didn't have this group of friends that I had where I would lean on them a lot for things going on in my life. Whereas my sister, she just kind of wanted somebody that she could talk to about everything and anything. And they weren't a part of like our life and our group.
So you're thinking that we're all using therapy different.
Yeah,
right?
100%. I think the reasons that I think every person has their own individual reason for going into therapy. However, when it comes up to the conversation between the differences in the way that you and I think about it, I think that for your generation, it was very much like, oh, this is something that I 100% really like. I could try this, but I don't need to. Whereas my generation, it's like, this is always going to be a viable option.
Oh,
always.
Okay. So it's there. You knew it was there. You always have the option there. Whereas like us, we're like dipping our toes in it. And like,
but even when I started therapy, I was like is this even worth it? Is this like...
How did you feel after? Post? Like, did you feel as if you, like, what was the...
During that point in my life, I think that it was very, very helpful for what I was going through, because there was 3 things going on in my life that I really, 1, had no control over, but I wanted to be able to control them. And 2, like, nobody understood what it felt like to be me in that moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I had just started my junior year of college. Everything broke down with my family. Okay. You know, I'm living with these people that I had just moved in with, like because it happened in the September of my junior year.
Like roommates and stuff. And
yeah.
Stuff, like
so it's like I knew these people, but I didn't know them on the level where I could be sharing, all my family trauma and all this stuff that I'm dealing with. On. Exactly. So I needed to find somebody that I could talk to about it, and I wouldn't feel judged, and I wouldn't feel like I was overwhelming them.
All right. Fair enough. But did you feel like you gained something from it, though? That's like my real question. Like, do you feel like it helped? Did you benefit from it? Like, are you going to incorporate therapy into your life forever? Yeah. And then
as of currently, I'm not in therapy.
Right now. No.
Right now, I'm not.
Okay.
But in the future, I could definitely see myself going back, because at the point in my life right now, I'm okay with everything going on. I, have a steady grasp of what I want my life to look like. However, once I know, when I told you all the time, like I have plans on moving. Okay. I know that when I pick up and move to a different place, I'm going to need a therapist. 100%.
So then it's like, at what point it's like, so are we only using therapy to like right a wrong, or like to make ourselves feel better in a moment, or is this like growth? You know what I mean? Or should you like
between you and I? Because I think that you view it as it's like you're supposed to be going into therapy as one person and coming out a different person. That's not what it is, though. That's not. It's more about finding the true center of yourself. Yeah, like freedom. Coming back into balance with yourself.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I definitely hear you on that. Like my experiences with
because you've been in therapy too, but your experience with therapy is probably 10 times different than mine.
Yeah, it was all court mandated. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everything that I had to do for therapy was just like mandated. If you want to be a part of society, you have to go to therapy.
Even when you talk about it like this, you make it seem like it's still like you still think that like you didn't need to do it.
There's
like, do you think that because you had to go through a court mandated therapy thing, it's
conditioning? You know what I mean? When you're court mandated to go, it's psychological. It's like almost psyop. It's conditional language. Like you have to say certain things. You have to act a certain way.
But it's that's not real therapy, though.
But like
you shouldn't be going into therapy thinking that you have to act a certain way.
But it's becoming the societal norm. I guess that's what I'm getting. It's like if you are unwilling to acknowledge the things that are going on in your own psyche, and you're not willing to at least find help, it's almost like the automatic red flag, right? Yeah. Like you almost instantly. Like if you're someone who believes, if you're one of the 5 that believes in therapy and thinks that it's like, a cohesive part of society, it's constructive, it's building people up, it's helping them find, new channels and self-awareness. Yeah. All right. The moment that someone tells you that they don't believe in therapy, you're like, no.
Like maybe I'm gonna.
You're not gonna unpack your trauma onto me, right? Yeah. Like you're not. I'm not. I don't have space for it, right? Because that's another thing too. That's prominent that I've seen. Like in my generation, which is I hear it. I feel like my generation used to trauma dump.
Oh, 100%.
All the time. It's like you meet someone new and it's like you almost got off.
You immediately tell
like,
everything.
Telling all the things that went wrong in your life. It's like, and now like yours is almost so it's like, I don't have room for it. I don't have space for it. If you're not healed or unwilling to like work on yourself, then I don't even want to invite you into my space. You know what I mean? You're a lot more protective of your space, right? Like at least through observation. Which is fair because why would anybody
protect your peace?
Yeah,
there should be no reason to bring people into your life.
Then it's like at what point though is like, so if you have a partner, you know what I mean, and they're talking to you, like at what point is them sharing their traumas or their issues with you become a problem? You know what I mean? Are they incapable? Like, are you going to just dismiss them and tell them they need to get help and not talk? Like, not use you to talk. If you
bring it into a thing with a partner.
Yeah.
Especially in the age that I'm at right now, like I'm dating people, I'm going on dates and, people are learning more about me. However, I'm not sharing.
Do you share those things with the people that you
Hell no. I'm not sharing it's not meant for that.
Yeah, but then
that'll come organically. Whereas with the therapist, you like literally go and you say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. I need help figuring my life out.
Okay. Fair. So do we use therapy for life? Is this something that you're in? No.
I don't think
so
that.
You believe in therapy, but you don't think you use therapy for life.
No, because I don't think that therapy should be the answer to all your problems. I think that therapy can be a way for you to gain more knowledge of yourself and really learn how you handle situations and, really learn how you're part of the problem as well. Because when I went to therapy and I was telling her everything that was going on in my life, it's not like she was sitting there being like, oh, Alexis, you have nothing wrong with you. There are issues that you have to deal with.
Do you care who your therapist is?
Yeah. I was I like that you asked this question because when I was looking for a therapist, I was very specific on what I wanted.
What did you want?
I wanted a female. I didn't want a male therapist because not that I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing some of the things that I was going through, but like I don't know. It's like I said with you in the last episode, women just make me feel more comfortable, more at ease. And I felt like I could open up with her more than I would have been able to open up with, say, a male therapist.
I mean, I could definitely say, I could definitely say when thinking about therapy or going to therapy, a lot of the deterrent for me, just to even like pursue therapy, because I've been in relationships where, the individual is kind of like, I've tried to open up to them and they were just like, I don't have space for that. And like, I think that you should see someone.
Well, then they should be in some therapy too, because
they do accept therapy and they already incorporated therapy in their life. But that was kind of like, the eye opener, the awakening for me. Like, it's like, wow, like we are living in different times. Like I can't even turn to my partner about the things that I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
Because they don't have space for it.
But that's what I'm saying is that your partner should not be your therapist.
Okay.
A therapist
fair.
And a partner are two completely different things.
But then what? But your home, I don't know. Like your home is supposed to be your sanctuary. Your partner is supposed to be your partner.
Yes,
like,
your partner is supposed to be your partner, not your person that you literally. Because
it doesn't need to be everything.
Let's be realistic here. I know that sometimes some of my friends are going to therapy and they're talking about their partners, about the issues that go on. You can't.
Well, why can't you just talk to your partner about
it? Can talk about it, but a lot of the time. You have to go to
therapy for it first?
No, you don't have to go to therapy, but it's like I said to you, a lot of the time you gain a better traction of your thoughts and, better ways to handle your issues rather than just putting it out there.
I just feel like you're just maybe allowing somebody else to compose your thoughts for you.
No. See, but that's not it. It's not it because at least with my therapy sessions that I had, she let me talk for the entire time.
Okay.
And then she sits, but even that in itself is so freeing, like, because you feel like you're getting it off your chest.
I guess, but then you could have just done that,
But you don't want to be a burden to your friends.
To anyone. You could have just found a stranger. You could have just started one of those.
But that's would you feel comfortable going up to...
You could just journal, write a letter and send it to a stranger across the country.
That you would feel comfortable going up to a random stranger and being like, yeah, I did court-mandated therapy.
I'm transparent. You had no problem walking right up in the studio and saying it. Yeah, of course. Like, that's how I live my life.
Yeah, but
take it or leave it.
I find it so hard to believe. And if anybody out there agrees with me that you can go up to a random person and be like, hey, these are my issues.
Please.
I give you props because I could never do that. However, like,
All right, but,
you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. Don't sit here and try and say that.
I do it all the time. I do it in everyday life.
All right.
But so the point I was looking to get at is like, that was my struggle with finding a therapist, because I entertained the idea. I was like, look, listen, I'll go to therapy.
Okay, but here's another thing.
I'll go to therapy.
Are any of your friends in therapy?
Are any of my friends currently in therapy?
Any of your male friends in therapy?
None of my male friends have ever been to therapy.
Exactly.
No,
and there we go.
Because
I've had some of my male friends have been in therapy for years.
Just after the show, just if you could let me know who they are so I don't associate with them anymore. No. That would be great. That would be great.
But seriously,
I know a lot of your
we'll bring
friends,
up another statistic here. Only 12% of men acknowledge going to therapy, and 21.4% acknowledge of women acknowledge it.
All right, so it's almost double. It's almost double. Not
pretty
quite.
much. We're almost there.
You're almost
by a fifth.
Okay. I think it's okay. It was hard. I entertained the idea. I entertained the idea of going to therapy. I did. I even went as far as to like search therapists, go on all different channels, look through all different firms and companies. And my issue is this. The industry, that the psychology industry, the therapy industry is predominantly women. And it is predominantly Caucasian women. Yeah. And being a 31-year-old black man, I don't feel comfortable sitting down in front of a Caucasian woman, dumping my life traumas onto her.
Because she doesn't get it.
And my life experiences because they say you're supposed to unpack the childhood trauma. You know what I mean? And giving her my life experiences from my adolescence, you know what I mean, and things that I've seen growing up to my adulthood, and expecting her to be able to relate, understand, comprehend, and not to say, I'm not trying to dismiss anyone's traumas here. You know what I mean? I get it. All people experience traumas, right? Like everyone does. Like, again, we don't need to go off on that, right? Like we get it. I acknowledge that, right? But there are certain levels and certain degrees when it comes to your atmosphere, your environment, things that you are just
100%.
inadvertently like
100%
that you see all the time. That like, how are you going to be able to relate that to someone? You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to be able to explain to my therapist that I just casually saw people fighting on the streets just for fun? Just like street fights and rings, you know what I mean? That like that probably subconsciously.
But that's part of your generation because you don't feel comfortable.
But why would I feel comfortable explaining that to someone that I know for a fact who? And it's almost, I'm not trying to like reverse and use it against them, but like I don't know. There's no way they could actually relate. You know what I mean? They're just trying to.
They're not sitting there trying to relate with you. They're sitting there trying to empathize with you.
But then it's like, I don't want your empathy.
But then
you know what I mean? I don't want your empathy.
You don't understand the real, like the background of therapy.
I want your understanding. I want to speak to somebody who gets it, who's been in a similar situation, who's handled it differently. Okay, so then, you know what I mean?
So then when you're looking for therapists, then you need to put in specific, like I know for when I was
Good luck. Try to find one. I'll tell you right now, when I say 90%, I think that was being generous. I think that was being generous. 90% are Caucasian women. I honestly
you're 100% right.
You can scroll for days.
It's all that. However, you know, but that's
my demographic doesn't even go to therapy. So now you mean to tell me that I'm not only am I going to go to therapy, but I'm going to go talk to someone who has completely no understanding of what it was to grow up in my environment.
But I'm
going to find something out of it. What am I going to take out of it?
I'm saying there are ways for you to find people
I would be angry.
All right.
I'll be an angrier person.
But even me, but I can agree with you on that standpoint because, you know, when I was looking for therapists after I had left, you know, school, because the one that when I was in school, she was through the school. So she was like, I went like on campus and like sat in her office and
sort of like my court mandated, you know. It was like, this is just
a little bit.
This is just through the educational field.
Yeah.
You can't escape it. You can't escape it. You get it one way or the other.
So when I went to her, you know, I was only with her for a few months and, you know, we did unpack some stuff, but then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't really need this anymore. I'm good. I feel okay with myself. However, I came to realize, like you said, a lot of it had to do with where I was at that point in time. I was stuck at school with no family around in the middle of upstate New York in the dead of winter doing literally nothing. So the only thing that I could do was sit and run back in my head like, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm saying like now, so when I came back home, I was after I graduated my senior year, I was looking for more therapists to see while I'm here at home. However, things have changed. I'm older now. I have a lot more better of a grasp of like what I actually need to work on. But even then, like, this is where I can agree with you. It's hard for me to find somebody that like I feel like truly gets it. Because
I feel like that's almost against your point, because it's like
it's not against my point though, because my generation is a lot more susceptible to it.
Yeah, but I almost feel like even it kind of contradicted me. It's just like it shouldn't. I'm saying on your point, it's therapy. It's therapy. You should be able to choose the channel. We know it's there. We know it's a viable option, right? Mm-hmm. But then it shouldn't matter, right? Like for that perspective, it shouldn't matter who you're going to see. Do you know what I mean?
It shouldn't matter to anybody but yourself.
Like it should just be like, as long as they're educated, as long as they have the
but
content,
it's not just that.
Degree,
it's not just that, because when I was looking for therapists, I was looking for people that specialized in family trauma and people that specialized.
Why do they need to specialize in it?
Because they get it because it's like,
you know what I mean?
Like if we go back to like everything, like with my father's affair, right? I am the only one out of my entire friend group here at home that my parents are divorced. The only one.
Boom, bam. Well, welcome to America. More than not, people get divorced.
But that's what I'm saying, is that was such a different world for me, because, I went to college. I thought I'm past the point of that happening. Like, my parents are good to go, yada, yada, yada. However.
But wouldn't you argue that you were already in a position to like be more accepting of it?
What do you mean?
Because I feel like a lot of people, like when their parents get separated, it's like a lot more traumatic or more of an impactful thing when it happens when they're younger. Versus you, where you were like already removed and out of the house.
Yeah, but this is where it differs, because with the way that my parents separated, the way that my life just kind of blew up, it wasn't that.
How did it blow up though? That's why I guess I'm not understanding how the effect
because my dad blindsided all of us. He literally did not like.
I'm pretty sure that's how affairs work. It's blindsided, but
It is. However, they were what I thought love was. They were my depiction of love my entire life. And then to figure out at the age of 20 that, whoa, that was not love. I don't know what the heck that is.
It was love at one point though.
It was at one point. Okay. However, it turned into something that no longer was not.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So when it blew up my life in the fact that I guess I was naive to the fact that I thought it could never happen, because I was 20 years old and like already in my junior year of college. Like, I got 2 more years left. I
just kind of feel like, I almost was like, brush it off at that point. You know what I mean?
But I think it was also harder for me. I think it's also harder for me to process, because I know you just said, compared to age, it probably would have been more devastating to me as a child. But I disagree, because I know everything that's going on. I've seen my friends get cheated on. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Happens quite frequently.
Okay. It does. But you know what I mean? I understood it on a different level. Whereas when I was a kid, my mom probably would have just said to me, we're not happy. We're getting divorced.
Like you got, so to the point, do you feel like you got anything out of the therapy?
Out of therapy?
Yeah. Do you feel like you actually gained anything?
I think that it showed me, that I can't let every little minuscule thing that happens in my life bother me, because I do have that issue. I am a notorious overthinker. I will overthink until I can't sleep.
Yeah, but then we should probably get back to adopting therapy, because I don't know if that really helped as much.
What do you mean?
I don't know if you still have that issue. You still have.
And I think that you have some issues as well.
Many.
Yeah.
Many. But the difference is I'm transparent about them.
But do you not think that I sit here and I'm transparent about it too?
Maybe. Maybe not.
But it's like we said in the last episode, fake it till you make it. That's the issue with my generation. We will portray to the world that, we're doing great and we're not in therapy and we're not depressed. However, a lot of us probably are.
So you're just associating therapy with depression? Like if you're going to therapy?
Don't put words in my mouth, because therapy is not just for people that are depressed. Therapy is for anyone and everyone. And if you want to go to therapy, I recommend it to people all the time. And I'm not even in it right now.
Are you pro it or against it? So you're pro.
I am obviously pro. And this is where I struggle with you, because I can't tell if you're pro or if you're anti, because you've been in it. Obviously a lot different of a situation than
many of it.
have. But do you think that has changed you as a person?
I think it had to.
But again, you had to be the one to make that decision.
Absolutely. It definitely, it forced me to accept certain things about myself.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
That I maybe not wanted to acknowledge.
But that's where you and I can connect with each other.
It gave me the perspective versus the perception.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? How I see things versus how people see me.
Remember what I said to you on the phone last night when I was telling you about this movie that my friend had watched, and he was telling me about the movie Spaceman with Adam Sandler. I was telling you about it last night on the phone.
With the fucking tarantula thing, the giant space tarantula?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Oh my God.
No. But
this better relate to therapy.
It does. Okay. It does, because I don't know if this is the actual movie. I might be mixing the movies up.
Oh my God. Don't start here, please.
But he did say that a lot of the time people not create their own problems, but they emphasize them. Because you can choose...
Yes. Okay.
You can choose, if something happens to you, right? Mm-hmm. In reality, it's going to go away. For the most part, you're going to find a way to deal with it. However, you can choose to move on from it, or you can choose to hold on to that grudge. Because I know for a lot of things in my life, there are things that I still hold a grudge on. Okay. But there are also things that I don't.
So this would be my argument. I'm pro therapy to an extent for traumas. You know what I mean? Pro therapy for traumas. I don't think every little thing.
But would you consider not knowing yourself a trauma?
No. I think that's a part of life. That's the part of growing. That's self-actualization. That's finding awareness. That's I don't think not knowing yourself
it's not as easy for everybody.
Get the fuck out of here. Of course, it's not easy for anyone. You know what I mean? It's not easy for anyone. That is not a trauma. I don't think leaning on someone to try to find oneself is healthy.
It's not leaning on oneself though. It's looking for an unbiased opinion.
For traumas, I think compartmentalized. You know what I mean? I think therapy to an extent. Take it over here. People who need it. It's almost like emergency or medical care. Do you know what I mean? Or a health issue. Therapy. Do you know what I mean? This is for you. But I think when you start saying that on this broad scale, every little thing. It could be therapy. Anything about my day.
I'm not saying if you stub your toenail, you need to go to therapy.
Or frustrations at work, or compounding issues, or relationships.
But this is what I mean, and this is the difference of the way that
that's all fodder. That's fucking fodder.
But this is the difference between where you and I, how you and I see it.
Yeah,
because I and all of my friends think that going to therapy can just be fun. Not fun. That's the wrong word. That's the wrong word to use. Not fun, but it's a way to open up that you can't do with everybody else in your circle.
See, that's because you use your point. That's because you're getting in your own way. And if people in your circle aren't willing to have those level of conversations, not saying you need to jump on them.
Maybe you don't want to have those conversations with those people because they don't get it.
Whatever.
And nobody gets it. Nobody gets it.
But
a therapist is going to be able to sit there and tell you that it's okay that nobody gets it. Even herself. She might not get it, but she's going to sit there and try and give you...
Chances are she doesn't get it.
Chances are she doesn't, but she's going to try and give you those tools to try and figure it out.
And that's what I can say. I can say that, the thing I got the most out of all the therapy that I've been to, right? It kind of gave me the template, right? That's what I can say therapy the most. It gave me the template of how to see myself through others' eyes in the world, or acknowledge the things that I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? In my actions on a broader scale.
Yeah.
How to apply those steps in my everyday life. How to those points of growth, right? almost like, because at that point I was going through traumas, which I felt as if I needed the therapy. So you kind of
that's what I'm saying.
The individual.
So there was a point in your life where you were like, oh, maybe I do need this a little bit.
Yeah, but
exactly.
Okay. I acknowledge that. You know what I mean? I acknowledge that. But again, because of root issues that I think that were compounded, that needed to be unpacked, and they needed to be, they needed to be resolved, right? Like, I didn't think that I needed therapy for every broken relationship I ever had, or every situation of malcontent, or friends that did me wrong,
but
or
neither do I,
my boyfriend cheated on me, or whatever.
But neither do I, and I wasn't going to therapy for things like that.
But people
did. But no judgment to people who are. Like I said,
all of the judgment here for people who do. You know what I mean?
No, because therapy is for everyone, and therapy is something that.
No, okay. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You just don't.
That was rude. That was very rude. It was very rude and unprofessional, man. You continue.
I was just saying, it's just like, I don't know. I think that. But it shows in the statistics that millennials are becoming more open to it.
But you said yourself, we're using it differently.
You are using it differently because you're using it as a way to kind of, I think, like take all of your issues that you've had throughout your past and kind of put them somewhere to keep away. Whereas my generation, we use therapy as like, oh, this is a time for me to sit down, let it all out, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore.
So my future baby mama, I just want to trauma dump on you, please. Thank you. All right.
But that's what I'm saying. Because the trauma dumping that our society has created, especially yours, strains relationships.
I would never understand that.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, do you not agree with me on that?
I do think it creates.
Because you have to learn about others' traumas to be able to but you can't start a relationship off like that.
No.
It's something that comes organically within conversation.
It does allow you to see, okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going on a first date with somebody and be like, hey, so I have daddy issues. I'm not going to say that.
Then at what date do we dump traumas?
I would
what
say
date do I let you know about my red flags?
Preferably after the third.
After the third. So it's like after the third day, if I'm seeing you more than three times, please let me know if there's anything that's bothering you. Or are they going on in your life?
Do you think that I've shared everything that's gone on in my life with the people that I've gone on dates with?
Oh, no, of course not.
Exactly.
I pick and choose too, but sometimes I like to have fun with it. You know what I mean? You have to.
You
have to 8 Mile the situation. You have to Eminem it. You got to rag on yourself to be able to get through.
I would prefer for people to see more so the work that I've done on myself rather than kind of defining me by my trauma.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So when I'm talking to people and like getting to know people more, and I have to explain these experiences that I've dealt with in my life. I'm describing them in a way where it's like, yeah, this happened.
So do you wait till something triggers you?
I came out more resilient because of it.
So do you wait till something triggers you to acknowledge it, or do you just like?
See, this is a good question because with certain
a pet peeve of mine. Are you like one of those like this is a pet peeve of mine, or do you wait for the issue to present itself and see the trigger and like?
See, this is the thing because with people, I found this that with newer people that are coming into my life, I will point blank tell you, if I have a problem or if there's a pet peeve of mine that you're doing. But with like my best friends that I've known since I was 3, I'll just pop off on them. Like,
pop off.
No, but you know what I mean? Like if one of them bothers me, I'll be like, yo, like get out of my face. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas like, I'm not going to do that to somebody that I just met.
Okay. So now it's like, we got to go into like, what are the forms of therapy, right? Like how are you going to get your therapy? Like,
but this is part of the reason as to why I think the statistic is as big as it is for 1 in 5, because I think that that's a very generalized statistic. I think that, therapy can be viewed as many different things nowadays. There's pet therapy where you can just go and pet a dog or...
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, well,
Is that therapy? This is like the...
that they bring like animals into hospitals and stuff to like, for like people that are like going through mental...
Are dying?
No. But it's like...
Isn't that for like people?
Do you not feel that like when you pet like a dog or something, like you feel their love to you? They love... Okay. Public service announcement. Branden doesn't like dogs.
I love dogs. I love animals, but I just don't know if
they're
it's
not
doing
clean.
it. I don't know if it's doing it for me.
They're not clean.
I don't know if laying down with a puppy is making me feel like my shit's resolved.
No, but I'm saying, there's that, and then there's also things like we talked about, like BetterHelp, like
what's like so you're
where
gonna
it's
get
like
your
you
therapy from an app.
Yeah, which I think that
You're
is
getting therapy for an app.
I think that is so stupid, and that's surprising for me to say that because I am the digital native. But therapy is something
everyone should get therapy. So why is BetterHelp stupid?
I never said it was. I never said it was stupid. I just said that I don't think that it's probably the most effective.
Do they have face to face though? Right? They like don't you talk to someone face to face in BetterHelp?
I don't think so. I think
it might be. I think it might be like a FaceTime sit-in.
I don't think it's like FaceTime like with the boys. Like kick back, like crack open a cold one. I don't think that that's what it's like. I think that's
my therapy. My therapy is the group chat. Thank you, boys.
No, that's
to the boys. Every guy out there that's in my group chat. Thank you.
That's not a form of therapy. Please.
Why?
Male group chats are definitely not a form of therapy, and that's a public service announcement.
What? They're there for me. They're supporting me.
Yeah, and they are. But okay, but are you going to say here inside that you would feel comfortable texting in a full group chat full of women? This is what's going on in my life, and you wouldn't feel like.
Isn't that what y'all do?
No.
Isn't that what you guys do?
No.
That's not what you do.
Because a lot of us go to therapy. So, like, there we go.
I hear it. I just, I'm
but,
still
but,
torn.
But that's what I'm saying. Bringing it back
to
to the BetterHelp thing. I'm not saying that I don't think it's a form of therapy. I do think that it is. However, I know that for me personally, that is not something that I would really feel like I'm doing any work on myself if I'm doing that. You know what I mean?
I wish that was a fact that we checked on because I would love to see how many people are digitally tuning in, like who are going to therapy digitally
I don't
versus
even know,
people that are going in-house.
I don't even know if we would be able to get a good statistic on that because
how many people use BetterHelp?
Yeah, but the whole telehealth therapy thing didn't really start becoming a thing until COVID.
Yeah, like
I'm not wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
like
I'm not wrong. That's 100% right. Yeah.
Telehealth, it's convenient. It allows people
It is convenient.
Or someone like me who's looking for a therapist that needs somebody that's a little more diverse.
But like, what do you want to do? Just shoot your therapist a text? Hey, had a really hard day today. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to.
I think you're kind of telling us why therapy isn't really that.
No,
important.
I'm saying that this is why I disagree with telehealth therapy services.
If you believe
unless like it's been your therapist for like a really long time and like you're comfortable with doing that, I just think that it's very hard to actually connect with a person and open up through a screen. That's just my personal opinion.
That's what we're trying to do right now. That's literally what we're trying to do right now.
But it's different because I'm not sitting here trying to tell people, here's how to solve your problems. I'm sitting here and I'm giving my opinion on it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what is that your therapist is giving you other than an opinion?
Tools. Have I not said that 15 times? They are giving you the tools to work on it. Because like I'll be so honest. Like I used to like think journaling and all that stuff was like so whatever, like not a thing. And then I went to therapy and she was like, it could actually be really helpful.
You journal?
I do journal.
Today, you actively journal?
Today I actively journal, I do.
So you're in therapy?
It's not therapy because it's just me writing down my thoughts every day.
Look, I'm gonna close it on this. You know, we definitely can finish out this conversation. But my last point is gonna be, I believe, while therapy is important, I already stated my opinion that I think that for that group, for those who are trauma ridden, for those who need to unpack, for those who are going through that level of, you know what I mean, of issues, therapy is a must. It's necessary for growth all around. I think all the other is a crutch. I think it's just turned into a crutch. And while it could have been beneficial, it could have been beneficial, I think it's just blown up to a point that it's just a crutch now. Like this is
I will agree that I think that, you know, there are probably some people out in the world that go to therapy like just to say that they go to therapy.
Absolutely.
But I also think that there are people that use it as a legit way to find the better version of themselves.
Fair. You know, because it's like you don't have a large friend group. No, it's a crutch. It's like solely a crutch because how are you going to grow? How are you
going to grow with an entire group of friends that has the same mentality as you? You're always
pick different people to associate with, make new connections.
No, because I've been friends with these people my entire life, and you're always the first one to say, Alexis, you're just like all of them. You guys are literally all the same person in different fonts.
I may or may not have said that.
He has said that. And
I may or may not have
but that's what I'm saying, is that how am I supposed to talk to somebody about these things when they're going to think the exact same way as me?
Well, if it's any recollection, I think your Times New Roman. So I just hope you know that.
If I were to be a font, I would be Times New Roman. It's my favorite one.
I just don't think that it's grown to be as constructive or as helpful as it was planned to be. Like
I can agree with you on that, and I can agree with you on that.
And I think it's used more nowadays.
As a crutch, but I can
not even just a crutch, but to my point earlier in the show, I think it's used more nowadays as a point. Like, I hate to use a point of validation term, but I'm saying as almost it's used almost against you as like, do they go to therapy? Are they somebody who's emotionally aware?
But that's the difference between your generation and mine.
I think that's just in general.
Nobody thinks about it like that except for millennials. Sorry.
No, you do.
No, I don't.
You're a liar. You're going to think it's any different to you if a guy goes to therapy or doesn't go to therapy.
No. I don't.
Zero.
No. Because every man that I've ever been romantically involved with, none of them have been to therapy.
And at no point
except
you just...
for one. And
at no point you'd ever feel like, and maybe that's me projecting my own issues, because like it was pushed out onto me where it was like, oh, you should go to therapy. And I just feel like it's almost used as a judgment. It's like, does this person accept this aspect?
That all has to do with how your brain works.
Definitely though. It definitely is though.
All right,
you can't say that. None of your friends, nobody you ever talked to when they've ever like, oh, he should go to therapy.
No.
Bullshit, Alexis. Bullshit. You've never sat down and were like, oh, X, Y, and Z has issues. They should probably go to therapy. That person needs help.
I've been that friend, though. I've been that friend where my friends have been like, Alexis, you're really not doing good. You should probably get into some therapy.
So it's almost used now. It's weaponized. Therapy and psychology is weaponized.
But then this is where, we can. So then what about like medication for it then?
Oh, do we have enough time for the No, we do not have enough time. This would have to be like we're gonna have to bring something in life habits.
That'll go in the life habits topic.
The life habits.
Because I already know that him and I are gonna go off about that.
No, stop. Because that's like, again, when I was saying the crutch, that's what I wanted to lean into. I wanted to lean into that so heavily with the anxiety and the depression and the medications and the scripts. And I need this. It's like, talk about addicts, addicted to the money. I'm addicted to the feeling, the therapy. I'm addicted. I need my therapist.
I don't think people are addicted to therapy.
Yeah, well, they're addicted to therapy when their therapists are writing their scripts and they're going to Rite Aid. I'll tell you that much. We can definitely close it on that note. You know what I mean? We can definitely finish off on that note. I do appreciate the insight and you,
and I appreciate yours, because I think that this is a topic that this one really does show the difference between
life habits. Man, we need to get to life habits. What is that, like episode 5? We have so many down the road. That's down the road. 5. But note that though.
We'll note that. Put a pin in that one, everyone.
Yeah, put a pin in that one. We'll get back to this. Thank you guys.
So much for tuning in.
It's been awesome. 2 scoops. See you guys next time.
Thank you.